Hallelujah. Okay. Good morning, everybody. I am truly, truly sorry. Good to see you, brother. Good morning. Good to see you, sir. I am truly sorry, Jeremiah. Thank you so much. I am truly sorry. Traffic here, and good to have you guys around. So sorry. I like to relate to my people. Okay. How good. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Like I said, I'm truly sorry. Um, it's been good morning, everybody. It's been so like I said, I'm truly the sorry. Last 1 week or 2 weeks, will I say? Good morning, everybody. And it's been that's why we couldn't like have our class last week. The last, I remember we had the or two inauguration ceremony last week, so we couldn't have our class. But good to have you here. Who was not here last week Monday when we met? Okay, you were not around, ma. And are you on our group? Are you on our group, ma? Are you for graphic design? Are you for graphic design as well? Who else is not on our group here? Apart from Mr. Samuel, right? Okay. Who else? Okay. So this morning, I came and I saw that we were praying. That's amazing. You know, the Bible says that the Spirit and the bride says, "Come." So you have called the spirits. And the one thing about prayer is that it stabilizes your heart for receptiveness. So it means that whatever we're going to be talking about this morning it's going to go into a good ground. Can I hear amen? Yeah, it's going to go into a good ground. So we're going to be talking about design fundamentals. Design fundamentals. Um, Please, 1 minute. I want to send something to Mr. Kings. So we're going to be talking about design fundamentals, and what we're going to be talking about this morning, it cuts across irrespective of which area of design you want to specialize in or on. Did you understand that? That means what we're going to be talking about cuts across every aspect of design. whether you're going to be eventually specializing on UI UX design, whether you're going to be specializing on typography design, whether you're going to be specializing on product packaging design, whether you're going to be specializing on any form of design, whether interior design, whether landscape design, whether environmental design, it cuts across because you're still going to be working with computer. And as much as you're going to be doing that, then it means that you will need fundamentals that guides designs generally. So I think when it's okay to know ourselves. I tried to book for a session of a like chit chat session yesterday, but unfortunately I couldn't do that. So that we would have been able to know ourselves, would have been able to I know Mr. Samuel's name, I know Jeremiah's name, and you were around last week, sir. Okay, I've forgotten your name. So, is it possible for us to move forward, please? Please, please, so that for me, I like I like to have an interactive class. So, but this camera is actually limiting me. So I like to hear from you. I like you to ask questions. I just want the class to be very interactive, not a robotic kind of or monologue kind of class. I want a dialogue class. So, and I promise you, you're going to enjoy this graphic design class. There are a whole lot of things we're going to be talking about, but unfortunately, because we only have one meeting in a week, which means that we have 7 weeks remaining. And based on the curriculum, and if I were to put our hands into the practicality of designs, we may not be able to cover some things. And like I told us last week, that I would like us to also do some realistic practicals. I mean, I told us about t-shirt design. I told us about printing. So maybe we can select some of us who can join me. We can have a project that, okay, we want to design something, we want to print something. Just have an idea of. Remember, I told us that last week that we're not only going to be talking about doing just here. We're going to go out and do and see, go to Shomolu if possible, and see how do we go through the process of, okay, for example, we want to print, let's say, a jotter. How do we go through the process? Because like I told you, and this is, don't tell anybody's house, don't tell anybody my house. So unfortunately, we are online. This is something that people will not tell you. I have friends who only, specializes on designs. They only design. They don't print. You cannot tell them that, hey, guy, I want to print a brochure or a magazine, and they will tell you yes. They don't have that knowledge. They only specialize on, just design. But we're going to take this class beyond that level. We're going to take this class to, how do I go about it? And like I told some of us who were around that last week, that most of the money in design industry, I've not gone through the data analysis. I've not checked the data analysis, but I can tell you that if you, as a graphic designer, if you get a job, if you get a design work that pays you, let's say, 100K, let's say a book, that you're going to do the book cover design, and you're going to also format the inner. For example, like this, please, like that Bible. Let's assume that this is a book. Okay, don't worry, ma. Let's assume that this is a book. Now, this is a book, and every book that you see, somebody designed the cover page. Every book that you see, somebody designed the inner pages. So, the person that designed the cover page, or if the person that designed the cover page is the same person that designed the inner page, that's fine. But I'm trying to say that there are people who specialize on designing. But I can tell you that the person that will get the contract of this book to go and print would have times 20 of the profit that the person that designed it would get. And that's the secret about printing. So if you do your costing well, and you are a good businessman, and you are a good negotiator, I can assure you that you should make at least you should make times 10 of the money that the person that designed this thing made. Do you understand? So that's why I said we're going to go through the printing part. We're going to go through the t-shirt part, printing part, and yeah. At least if we can cover that too, if we can do 2 projects, 1 t-shirt or 2 t-shirts, and maybe print something, maybe small jotter, that would be fine. I would have contributed to this meeting that somebody can, go out and do wonders. Praise the Lord. Okay, so let's start. So this morning we're going to be talking about introduction to design fundamentals. So in every sphere, in every journey, or in every walks of life, there has to be, it is said that, how many of us know Lai Wasabi? You know him, right? I once watched, I don't know where he got that statement that info lo mangbe nifo, right? Meaning that the information you have access to would be the basis for your lifting. Please take down that the extent of the information that you have would be the savior, literally savior, that will lift you, or that will save you in some days, or most importantly in everything you do. So the extent of my where I am today is as a result of my level of information that I have. There are many people, there are many of your friends, there are many of our friends that would have been part of this program, but because they lacked the information needed to become a participant of this program, or to be part of this program. So make sure that every time you get information, you value it. Information is a very powerful tool. Information is a very powerful tool. So the same way you that you are here, we that we are here, cannot be the same person with somebody outside who have no knowledge of any skill. I know that many of us will think that because I have the time, let me just go and learn. No. I'm going to be sharing my own personal experience, because if I was told that while I was in secondary school, my mom just said, okay, how many of us remember those times that, it was computer appreciation that was reigning? Just go and learn computer, that's it. That was what my mom told me that time when I was in SS2. I schooled in Ibadan, and my mom just said, just go and learn computer now. Everybody is learning computer. And I just went. I wasn't serious about it. I was just going like, after all, our house is a story building. So when I come downstairs, it's one of the shops there is where somebody, is doing computer desktop publishing, computer appreciation. So students come after school to come and learn. And I just said, okay, it's our house. In fact, sometimes we even leave that place and go up, carry my friends, go and cook upstairs and still come back. That's how unserious I was that time. You can imagine, if I knew that this is what I'm still going to be using to feed myself today, excuse me, maybe I would have taken it seriously. Right? Now, so we're going to be talking about fundamentals. And like I said, fundamentals are very, very important. Very, very important. Especially when you're going into design industry. Fundamentals are very, very important. Can we go, sir? So, okay, let me say what, okay, like I said, I want this class to be very interactive. What do we understand by fundamentals? When they say fundamentals, before I even go through that, who can give us an example of, okay, when they say fundamentals, what do you think? Okay.
Fundamental mean fundamental means where you started, another way, and fundamental means where you put your stand, that this is what I'm going to do to give me what I want. So fundamental can be defined as a place where you start your beginning.
Praise the Lord. Okay, for sure, it means basis, like the basics.
The beginning, the starting point. So it means that before you will say, many designers like to carry system and be doing wonders with system. But when you look at many designs out there, you will see that they lack fundamentals. And like I said, the Bible says that if the foundation be destroyed, what shall the righteous do? Right? There are many things that the righteous would not be able to do when a righteous does not have a solid fundamentals, a solid starting point, a solid beginning. So, now, fundamentals basically means what you must know before you start doing wonders. Because there is no point doing, having Photoshop, having CorelDRAW, having Illustrator on your as softwares on your system when you don't have a knowledge of the fundamentals, the things that guide designs. So, number one, is that where I started from? From the beginning. Okay. Sorry. Apologies. I think the what's it called? Got disarranged, or what's it called? So because the way it's been arranged there is different from what is given me. So here I say let's define. So there are fundamentals, and we're going to be talking about that now. I say let's define what graphic design is all about. So when you hear graphic design, it's just a statement coined out of two words: graphics or graphic, then design. So when we say graphic, it means that it's talking about a visual thing, something that is graphically oriented, something that the eye can capture graphically. So when they say graphically speaking, so they are telling you to imagine, to form the picture. Yes, to form the picture on your head. So I say graphic design is the art of visual communication in a simple way. Sir Kings, graphic design is the art. The art. That means a graphic person must have a basis of an artist, an idea, because you are not saying it with your mouth, but it's like somebody, what do they call them? People that sculpture things. Yeah, we call them artists. So you are literally with your computer, you are sculpturing things. You are communicating to people. You are communicating to your audience via text, images. So let me give it to you. Graphic design is the art of visual communication through one, images. So before you should say something is graphic design, it means that one, it must have some of these things. First, image. The second thing it must have is text, which you can call typography. So there are terms that we will be using in this class. So when we use those terms, you will know that as a graphic designer, these are the terms you must be familiar with. So a graphic design, simply put, graphic design is simply, okay, thank you. So it says that graphic design is the art of visual communication through images, typography, and layout. Now, the clothes that Mr. Samuel is wearing says raising, is that lines? Raising lines, right? So this now is telling you there is an object in form of shape. Then there is an element in form of text, which is typography. So before you will be able to say, this thing is graphically presented, then it must consist these three things: one, images; two, typography; then three, layouts. Now, the layout part is the arrangement of those elements. The arrangement of those elements. That's what we call layout. Whether it was done horizontally or it was done vertically. Images, typography, and layout. Then, now, there are things, when we talked about graphic design, why graphic design? Why graphic design? So we say why graphic design? It says that because I'm going to be giving assignments, so please be prepared. Now, what are the things that we use graphic design for? We use it in branding, we use it in advertising, we use it in digital media, we use it in print, and many more. Now, let me explain one by one. When you talk about branding, branding is all about how people feel and think about you and I. So when people see Keep, when you see Keep logo everywhere, when you see, okay, let's leave Keep. When you see Coca-Cola anywhere, there is a kind of sense that comes to your mind. there is a kind of understanding that comes to your mind. There is a kind of there is something that comes to your mind when you see Nike, when you see Apple, when you see Windows, when you see Apple products, when you see MacBook. There is a kind of things that there are things that come to your mind. They create an impression in your mind. Why? Because those people have branded themselves in a certain way. So, for example, Lamborghini and Rolls Royce, are they the same brands with Mercedes Benz, Toyota Corolla? No. There are people that they know that because of their level of status, they cannot go to a workshop where Rolls Royce cars are being displayed. So there are, in fact, do you know that Rolls Royce are not looking for, you cannot see Rolls Royce advertisements anywhere, anyhow. They have their target audience. They have the people they communicate to. In fact, they have their platforms where they bring their advertisement, and that's what branding is all about. So branding is the way and how people, audience, feel about you, about me. So when I see Jeremiah, what do I feel about Jeremiah? Maybe Jeremiah had done something to me in the time past, maybe like 2-3 times. That's a kind of branding. So the way people feel about you. So when you hear products like when you hear a club like Manchester United, what comes to your mind? When you hear a club like Liverpool, what comes to your mind? There are things that the moment those things are mentioned, they just come to your mind. When you hear Man City, these are brands. Even though you're talking in the context of football, when you hear, Man U, people will say that they have, what's it called? No, like, when you win today, you lose tomorrow. That kind of mindset that people don't take them serious again. So it's like the way people feel about you is very, very important. So branding is a very, very important thing. We're going to talk about branding extensively so that you know how to carve out, how to come up with branding for a company. So then we use it for branding. So when you see keep, that's why we have keep. You see things like green, you see things like white color, you see things like yellow. But you see, your logo is part of your branding, not necessarily you in particular. It's just parts. There are many things that form branding. Your text, your communication, the tone of your communication can also tell people how they want to carry you. When as a brand, as a vendor or as a businessman, when you keep disappointing clients every day, there is an impression you are creating for your customers. So whenever they hear your name, there is a kind of impression that comes to them. So the feeling that they get when they remember you as a person is what is called branding, in short. So that's why in design they say that always create good impression with your audience. Always. So that they don't perceive you wrongly. If Bonfita and Milo are placed together, there are people that will always go for Bonfita, and at the same time there are people that will always go for Milo. Maybe based on their preferences, or maybe based on how they feel about Bonfita or Milo. There are people that I've heard about when they drink Bonfita, they get rashes, or it has an effect in their body. So they prefer to go for Milo. So that's what brand is all about. Now, we talked about advertising. Of course, we don't need to look far. If you go to Allen Avenue, you see all manner of, as you are going now, those roadsides, that's what graphic design can do. Then we use it for digital media. The digital screen you see at Ikeja roundabout, or I think there's one at Allen Avenue, Allen roundabout here, yes. Those digital screens, that's what some people somewhere sat down, took their time, came up with, a brand guide for those companies and say, okay, this is the color we're going to be using. This is the tone of our message. This is the kind of typography we're going to be using. So these are the things that form, so that when you see Coca-Cola anywhere, there is a kind of sensation that comes to you that, oh, cold, Coke with maybe the place or Chicken Republic. That's why when you see Chicken Republic, you are seeing Coke with it. So they want to create an impression in your mind that every time you take jollof rice and chicken, you must garnish it with Coke. It means that they are telling you that if you mistakenly ate jollof rice and you have not garnished it with Coke, you are wrong. That's what the impression. You see how powerful. And do you know the effect that has caused to many people? There are people who can never go to Chicken Republic without accompanying it with either Coke or Fanta. That's what brand. So brand that's why Close Up will always come with different advertisement. That's why Indomie will not say they are looking for adults. Indomie is not looking for an adult. They are looking for children, young people. So advertisement is a very powerful tool when it comes to graphic design. Then now we now say that real world application. Now let's come to real world application. Now when we talk about graphic design, that's where you see logos, you see social media poster. That's why if as a business owner you are not on social media, it's like nobody knows where you are. Many of us know probably Ida Basi, for example, today because she's all over social media, right? Right? Yeah. So then websites, posters. So these are things that graphic design produce, or graphic designers produce. So when you see posters, it was done by a graphic designer. When you see website, it was designed and developed by a graphic designer or a web developer. Next slide, sir. The fundamentals of designs are the foundation of every visual medium. I think we already mentioned that. Fundamentals, these are the foundation. So you see, I'm dwelling there so much so that when we now start designing, we are not having issue. You are the one that will even be saying, Mr. Sam, we have not used alignment. Fundamentals of designs are the foundation of every visual medium, from fine art to modern web design. They are even present in seemingly unimportant details. There are things that you will see that you will never know that a lot of things have gone into it. Like the fonts that make up most compositions. So when you see a font, don't just say, it's just a typography. There's a reason why somebody used a font for a particular brand. You see, as a designer, if all you do is just to design, that when you are, you know that there are some companies that you will work for, and they will never take you serious when you cannot defend your work. So why did you use this color for us? except if the company gave you their brand guides, maybe they gave you their color codes, their color guides, maybe they are already established, so they gave you, oh yeah, work with this information. But if you are the one developing that, there has to be an explanation for why you used a particular text, why you used a particular object, why you used a particular tone of text, maybe as a social media content creator. Now it says that the fundamentals can be intimidating at first, especially if you don't consider yourself an artist. You see, now it's a mind thing. So one of the things, one of the deliverance, if I may say, it's not only when they lay hand on you, that's when deliverance happens. Sometimes knowledge, just coming into an understanding, is a deliverance on its own. So you must consider, you must know it, let it burn in your mind that I'm a graphic designer, I'm a visual storyteller. I am telling stories. It is not only IB Quake that tells stories. It is not only those who are into writing that tell stories. You are telling stories. You may not be writing, you are telling stories with your own design as well. So let your design tell a story. Let it tell a story. You are telling stories. So it says that, but keep an open mind. There's a lot they can teach you about working with different assets and creating simple visuals from scratch. So when you are working with some of these fundamentals, they will guide you. They will put you ahead of many people. They will separate you. They will be like a savior to distinguish you among people who do not learn them. Like I said from the beginning, information lo mangbe nifo. That means the information that you have will be the one to save you in the days that come. Next slide, sir. Sorry. Okay. So, I just want to be sure that sorry. Okay. So now let's look at this. What do these examples have in common? Some very basic elements. Now, when you're as a graphic designer, and as from today, start thinking as one. I'm a visual storyteller. Tell yourself, I'm a visual storyteller. I have the mind of Christ. I have the mind of God, because I am a designer. God is a designer. So I create from the realm of the spirit, because my Father is a creator. So, like I said, it's a mind thing. If you don't consider yourself one, it will never happen. You will struggle with creativity. What do these examples have in common? Some very basic elements, including line. Now, these are the things that we are going to be working with. Lines. Now, we call some of these things elements. I said it that we're going to be using some terminologies. One of those terminologies is elements. So we're going to be working with elements. So when you hear me say elements, it's either I'm talking about shapes, I'm talking about pictures or images, or I'm talking about typography or a text, or an object as well. An object can be in form of a shape, a triangle. Now it says that they might not, it says basic elements including line, shape, form, texture, and balance. They might not seem like much on their own, but together they are part of almost everything we see and create. So when you separate this one or these three from this one, it may not make any sense. But you see, as you design and you include some of these things, they make sense to the audience. They become something that people can relate with. So when you are designing at the beginning, maybe you are just creating a background. It may not even make sense to you. But by the time you now put the Maybe it's a church program. Maybe by the time you now put the date, you put the picture of the ministers, is now coming out. Even to you, there are not so many times that I've seen my design like, is okay. And it happens to many designers. It's just it. People can say, this is a great design. But to you, but when you see one, the day when it comes to your mind that, this design is okay, you know. So, it may not make sense at first, but at the end, you see. Next slide, sir. Now, those fundamentals that we need to learn when it comes to graphic design. Now, the first one is line. It says that a line is a shape that connects two or more points. So, from here to here, that's what makes our line. From one point, from the starting point. So, a line must have a starting point and a what? A end point. A line is a shape that connects two or more points. It can be fat. Please take note of this. It can be fat, thin, wavy, or jagged. The list goes on. Now it says every possibility gives the line a slightly different feel. So when you see a line, for example, the line of this wire is different from the line of this wire that is holding this phone. The thickness is different. Now, the work that this kind of level of thickness can do is not the same one. It's not the same work that this one would do. Can somebody get me? So you have to consider the largeness, the thinness of the line you are working with. Next slide, sir. Now, we are still talking about line. This is what line. Somebody who can tell me what this thing is? When you see it, we say it many times, so it's just that we don't know. Especially when it comes to look at the what's it called? The shirt that Mr. Paul is wearing, for example. What will you call that kind of shirt? Sorry? Please, help me clap for her. That's a pattern. So this kind of thing, there are many times you would just feel like, let me just play with patterns. Most of the times for background. So this is a pattern. Now, talking about lines appear frequently in design. There are not so many designs that you will see that you will not see lines. There are people who don't show lines in their design, but it's not common. So you will work with lines and you must know how to play with them. Especially if you are going to be using Illustrator for logos. Lines are going to be your friend. Lines appear frequently in designs, for example, in drawings, yes, and illustrations, you see. They are also common in graphic elements, like textures, patterns, and background. They are common in textures, patterns, and background. So, as you are going from today, begin to position your eyes to see whether a design has a pattern, whether a design has a line, whether a design has a texture. Next slide, sir. Now, still talking about line. When working with lines, pay attention to things like weights. So the way your weights, the level of weight that you apply, maybe it's 5.0, maybe it's 0.3, it matters. When working with lines, pay attention to things like weight, color, texture, and style. These subtle qualities can have a big impact on the way your design is perceived. Don't forget, you are a brand and you are creating an impression to an audience. So if a brand comes to you as a graphic designer and you are using a kind of line for a particular thing, you are communicating a kind of thing. And most of the times we can even unintentionally communicate wrong perceptions to people. So you must be very careful. Pay attention to your lines. You see the different lines. You can see the level of weight that this one is having. Now, somebody, look at this color. Talking about color here. You know that the weight of this one is not the same weight as this, right? Now, talking about color, if this color is not being toned down, if I use the same color with this one, will it come out? No. So that's why you must pay attention to your lines, to the color you are applying to the lines. And also, you can see all of these are just to communicate something. So when you use this kind of thing, what do we call this kind of, what do we call it? We can call it spiral. We don't know, right? Zigzag. So even though it's a straight zigzag, but when you say spring, so let's say a company that produces spring, that thing that we used to knot on our generators. Do you know that thing? The one you put the plug that brings, that they tell you remove it and put petrol or something, right? If a company that produces that thing uses this thing on their advertisement, will it be difficult for you to relate with it? No. But if a company that specializes in food business is using this, okay, maybe if Indomie, for example, is using this, maybe we can still relate that, okay, Indomie, right? But if somebody like, who can we use as an example now? Like a church is using this to communicate, people may not relate. So in design, people must be able to relate with your design, because you are communicating. They must be able to relate. Your design must be relatable. It should not be abstract that people are finding it, scratching their brain to understand what exactly you're trying to say. No. Because it can have, so much impact in the way people perceive your designs. There are people that when you see their design, it's the same thing every time. Yeah, consistency is part of design. Making sure that some things are constant. However, sometimes you just want to twist your design just to give a feel of difference. Next slide, sir. Now, how many of us have seen Kings? Can we get FedEx logo online? Like, I just want it projected, please, sir. Now, when you get online, just let me know. I want to see something. I want to check something. Now, when you see this thing, now it says that look for places where lines are hiding in plain sight. For example, in text, even here, experimenting with different line qualities can give you very different results. Now, please look at me very well. When we look at from here, from this point to this point, down here, and then coming back, what does it form? A shape. So if I am writing N,
and I trace out those empty spaces. We call them white out, or kind of space. Now, if I trace them, literally, I can create another object or another element. Shapes, basically. So, everything, you now see that the same way, where also, okay, the same way here. You now see that your communication is very important. In fact, there are many things that you will not even know. The same way here. The same way here. Do you know that if I trace this thing inside this P and I bring it out, you know that I have written D as a letter already, right? And do you know that that alone, that shape alone, can be somebody's logo? So that's how powerful graphic design is. In fact, it is said that everything is design. In fact, it is said that even in your mistake that you consider as a mistake as a graphic designer, for somebody, it's a design already. That, I made a mistake here. That line is not straight. But when you look at it, it was maybe somebody somewhere has made it to be somebody's logo. And you will not be like, man. So many times your fuck ups is also something good for somebody. So yeah, okay. Yes, please. Okay. Everybody, please look up. Look at this FedEx logo. How many of us know FedEx? Okay. FedEx is a delivery company, right? You know, they deliver parcels. I don't know if all over the world, but I shall know they deliver parcels. Now, look at something here. What I was saying before, look at this place. Look at this place. Now, look at this place. This is an amazing thing. And I'm not sure if the person, but I'm sure the person that created the logo. You're seeing what I'm saying, right? The person that created this logo probably was intentional. I don't know. But look at this. You know, the day that I discovered this thing, I was so surprised. I was so surprised that graphic design can be very, very funny and enjoyable sometimes. Can be very, very funny. Look at it. So, and literally is an arrow. You can use an arrow for like somebody walking, or when you're designing map, for example, or a direction. Thank you. A direction. So that's what it means. And these people, literally, their work is to go around. So they use Google Map. So they tell you that you don't need to just give us your address. We will navigate around there. Imagine the interpretation. You now see the reason why you must be able to defend your design. So I'm priming your understanding as well. That don't just design for designing's sake. Design for communication. Design that when people see your design, you can say, this is the reason why I use this thing. Thank you, sir. Next slide. Next slide, sir. Okay. So we go to shape. I'm going to be rushing this one now because our time is fast spent. Shape. A shape is any two-dimensional area with a recognizable boundary. This includes circles, squares, triangles, and so on. Shapes fall into, excuse me, shapes fall into two distinct categories. We have geometric, which is regular, and we have what's it called? Unregular shapes. Geometric or I've forgotten that one. It's like word and opposites. So when you have regular and you have unregular, yeah. So we have, but here we call it, yeah, like organic, normal stuff. So these are the shapes. These are the, now why do we say geometric? These are normal shapes that if you go on your software, you can see them. Now, these ones, they are organic because you were the one that formed them. They were formed by you. You can't see some of this shape any on your softwares, but there are some that come with your software. So, but these ones, they're just normal shapes. So you also must pay attention to how you use them. How you use them matters. When you are using a round something, it can communicate something to somebody. When you are using a shape, it communicates something. Next slide, sir. Shapes are a vital part of communicating ideas visually. They give images heft and make them recognizable. You have gone back, sir. Yes. No. Okay. We understand street signs, symbols, and abstract largely because of shapes. So, yeah. Next slide, sir. Now, this is what that previous slide was talking about. So when you see a road sign, when you see where they are having construction is ongoing, you know that sign, right? Yes. So all of those things are coined out of shapes. So when you see email address icon, so we call some of these things icons. We're going to be talking about that later. So this thing, this image, this picture was coined out, or from different shapes. Just drawing things. Next slide, sir. Now, shapes are very important because they are the foundation of so many things. Learn to look for them in other designs. Even in your own design. Look for them, use them. And soon you will start seeing them everywhere. You know, one thing about graphic design is that as you are learning this now, your mind, your eyes are being conditioned to see them around. How many of you have thought of it that the moment you start thinking about, I like this car, you start seeing that kind of car around? Yeah, that's how it works. The same way social media works, that the moment you start feeding yourself of some certain content, they start coming. YouTube does that, Instagram does that. I don't know about Facebook. I know Facebook does that because I don't function there. But Instagram, YouTube, that's how they do. You will see that if you like maybe preaching will be coming. If you like food content will be coming. That's how it works. So shapes are very important. They are the foundation of so many things. Learn to look for them everywhere. So you see that this is a scissors. We have seen logos of fashion designers that have scissors. Yeah, they were coined out of shapes. They were done with shapes. So there are many things. UI UX designers, people that design mobile apps and websites, they use shapes a lot. A lot. Next, sir. Now, we have talked about how many elements, how many fundamentals now? 2. Now, the third one is form. Form. Now, when a shape becomes 3D,
I don't know if how many of us know what 3D is? When you hear 3D design or 3D shapes, sorry, like real objects. Ah, thank you, ma. Are you a designer already? Ah, okay. So when you see 3D, I mean it's real. It will be like it's in your front now. There was a time we were told that artificial intelligence will get to a point whereby when your preacher is preaching, you can be seeing him or her like a 3D form. I think it's already happening safe. Like you don't need to go to church, even though many of us cannot do it. We'll still go to church. Forms make up a variety of things in the real world, including sculptures, architecture, and other three-dimensional objects. However, forms don't have to be three-dimensional shapes. They can also be implied through illustrations using techniques like light, shadows, perspective to create the illusion of depth. Now, when it comes to 3D, it's real. You will see the angles. Please, next slide, sir. Now, look at these things. Which one is more real between this and this? Which one can you relate with? The one up, right? That's it. You can relate with this. But mind you, this thing was done because it was first illustrated. So this ring light you are seeing was designed by somebody. How we want it could have been square, just like this light. It could have been any shape, but they decided that, hey, ring light, we want it to capture people's face. So 3D, in every composition, the purpose of form is the same, but on a smaller scale. For example, a simple shadow can create the illusion. So this is this kind of, this shadow here. Yeah. So next slide. Let's see if we can cover up. We're almost done, sir. Just give us like 5 minutes. Okay. Yeah, so that's form. So form is very important as well. It can, when you add it, when you apply it, it can make a big difference in your design. Now, let's talk about texture. Texture is the physical quality of a surface. For example, when I do clothing, and when a customer sends me a particular material, I don't buy into it until I see it physically, because graphics can be deceiving sometimes. You will see a graphics that is top notch sometimes, but if a good graphics goes to a wrong printer, that's voila. So you will see an amazing design, but when the output comes out, not because the design was bad, but because the person that printed it didn't get it well. So sometimes you see, so I like feeling the texture of a material. So like this thing is a texture. This paint that we use, when you use stone paint, the texture is different from emulsion paint, right? The texture of stone paint is different from what's that paint now? Oil paints. Thank you. The texture they will give you is quite different. The same way it is when in our designs. This texture is different from this texture. Please, Mr. Kings, please, let's see. Keep design. So this surface is quite different from this surface. So you must be able to differentiate and distinguish between your background when you are using them. You must know how to use
shapes. Now, for example, look at this texture. So we call this in design, we call this, can you see it's called noise. So sometimes you just want to play with background and you just add noise. And it makes your design to pop out. Right? So this is what we call noise. So you can use this as texture. If we decide to use normal plain background, it will still be fine. But sometimes you just want to use texture. So in your design, always make sure that you also apply texture. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Then you see this thing, pattern that we talked about. So you see some of these things, these are the things you will inculcate into your designs when you're designing. We have like 5 slides to go. Okay, so this brick kind of texture is different from this kind of texture. Then it's different from this kind of texture. You see how it was played with. That's why this guy can lie on it conveniently. Next slide, sir. So when you're using background texture, your image, you must know the kind of image you want to bring in. Okay, on this texture, do I use black and white kind of image on it, or do I use colored? Now, texture is the physical, yeah. Go, sir. Okay, for beginners, textures make great background images and can add a lot of interest to your work. Look closely and you may find texture in unexpected places like distressed fonts and smooth or glossy icons. Glossy icons like 3D icons. You see them glossy. They don't have anything like pattern. They are just glossy. Yes, sir. Just be careful not to go overboard. So you must be careful not to go overboard when you are applying some of these things. So this is it. Can you see that this background is so soft? Why? Now, between this one and this one, which is correct? This one. Thank you. So, because one of the principles of design that we're going to talk about by the grace of God next week is that is contrast. Contrast. Very important. Contrast. One of the principles. These are fundamentals. They are not principles. So, if you are having this kind of background and you are now still having texture as this, even though it can communicate, but now by the time you're having this texture and you're not having this contact, or things are being, distorted somehow. But look at this very glossy or straight background, even though kind of the texture, but not kind of pattern kind of texture. Then straight white, then you're black. You have communicated. This can be, I'm sure this can be a brand color guide for a brand already. So you must know how to play with your colors, your background, your texture, and your text when you are designing. Yes, sir. Now, the last one, balance. This one, we cannot overemphasize it. Balance is the equal distribution of visual weight. So when you're talking about balance, some designs, you see some designs, the space in between here or here and here is not the same. Maybe this guy is shifted up a bit. That's not you are not applying balance in your design. So your design must balance. So after designing, you must look at everything to know whether you are not leaving stones unturned. Balance. You can see if you measure the size here and here, they are equal. If you measure the size here and here, they are equal. If you measure, if you put your ruler or grid line here and here, they they are sitting on the same, straight line. So this is what we call balance. 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 The next one, sir. Sorry. Now, it says that balance can be affected by many things, including color, size, number, and negative space. Mastering balance can be tricky for beginners because it does take some intuition. Sometimes you don't even need to know that it's balanced. You just need to know. There's a level you get to that you know that my design this thing is balanced. Next, sir. Yes. So we end at balance. So all that we have talked about, shape, we've talked about form. Can we still remember them? We've talked about balance. We've talked about texture and line. All of these things make all we have talked about today a bigger picture when it comes to design. And when you design and you apply some of these things, people would resonate. You would have communicated well to your audience. The last one. Yeah. It says that design speaks louder than words. So it is not only by saying it out. That's why Coca-Cola does not need to come to your house to speak to you. By just seeing their design on a big, massive screen, they are communicating to you what they want you to do. Instagram does not need to come to your house. They only tell you, just keep scrolling. That's why they suggest things that they know that you have been watching. Things that they know that you have been, feeding your mind to it. So they want you to keep scrolling so that they can get more revenue. So your design is not only communicating with words, but the words that you are speaking, many times they are louder than your mere speaking. And on this note, I think I've done justice to design fundamentals. Right? Thank you for joining with me on graphic design fundamentals. Thank you so much. Thank you for your audience. Thank you for your attention. Thank you so much. Thank you for making this class interactive. Any question on design fundamentals? No question? Okay, we'll call it a day and we'll see on our private class. I think this, let's say on Wednesday, maybe we can just have 30 minutes. I'm going to set my watch out for my assignments. So, and please, can we take attendance, please? Jeremiah, please help me take the attendance. Just write the names down. Thank you, sir.